This boy is the envy of every guy out there. He's got 5 stunning sisters, but only he knows how tough his life really is. His name's Arita, and he's never had a girlfriend, thanks to his 2 older sisters and 3 younger ones. His little sister Kotono, for instance, can't reach her back when she bathes, so she always asks Arita to scrub it for her. From the moment he wakes up to when he hits the hay, Arita's surrounded by gorgeous girls. It's no wonder his standards for love are sky high, making it hard for him to fall for just anyone. Being the only boy, Arita always has to give in whenever he argues with his sisters. One day, he's chatting with his younger brother Shion, asking for advice on how to land a girlfriend. That's when all 5 sisters barge in. The eldest, Bonri, is a jokester who loves teasing her siblings. Seiha, the second eldest, is as logical as a coder. Uka, the third, thinks Arita's a creep who might corrupt Shion and often sicks her pet dog on him. Minami, the fourth, is a sporty type who accidentally hurts Arita during her antics. And the youngest, Kotono, is super shy and barely speaks. Arita tries to steer clear of his sisters, spending most of his time with Shion, but Uka's not about to let him off the hook. Uka and Arita are fraternal twins, both in their 2nd year of high school. Uka's always borrowing Arita's notes and, to keep him from getting weird ideas about their sisters, she's on a mission to find him a girlfriend. During one chat, she learns Arita has a crush on his friend Yokoyama and plans to invite her out for the weekend. Arita snaps that she's meddling too much, and their argument ends on a sour note. Meanwhile, Kotono's secretly staring at Arita's photo, her cheeks flushed red. Fast forward to Kotono's birthday. Everyone's dressed up, but the festive vibe quickly sours when Minami loses Uka's AirPods. Uka's furious, declaring she doesn't want a sister like Minami. Arita steps in, reminding them they're family and shouldn't say such hurtful things. He's usually low-key, but when he gets serious, his sisters still see him as their big brother. Then their father, Kanim, takes the stage with a bombshell announcement. All 7 kids in the family were adopted. Only Minami and Shion are fraternal twins. None of the others are biologically related. That means Arita and Uka being twins was a lie too. The kids are stunned into silence, each lost in their own thoughts. It takes Arita a long time to process the shock, but he eventually believes Kanem. Their different hair colors make it clear they can't all be related by blood. That night, the mood is heavy. After Kanem leaves, the 7 kids hold a family meeting. Bonri, who was about 4 when she was adopted, vaguely recalls something odd but chooses to keep it to herself. The meeting drags on with no resolution, leaving everyone emotionally tangled. Uka's grilling Shion about an incident from the past when they caught Arita pinning Kotono down. No matter how much they pressed, Arita wouldn't explain. Shion, one of the few in on the truth, clears things up. That day, Kotono had confessed her feelings to Arita and got so emotional that Arita tripped while trying to calm her down. He stayed quiet to protect Kotono from embarrassment. Learning the truth only makes Uka more worried. Now that they know there's no blood relation, Kotono might be catching feelings for Arita again, and Uka's fears are spot on. Arita tries to clear his head with a bath but walks in on Kotono, who forgot to lock the door. He's about to leave when she stops him, asking him to scrub her back like old times. Suddenly, Kotono hugs him and confesses her feelings again. Thankfully, Arita's got principles. He gently tells her that teenage emotions can blur respect and romance. He promises to protect her as a brother until she's ready to be a bride. Arita bolts to his room, only to find Seiha waiting. Things take a wild turn when Seiha pushes him onto the bed and presses her face to his chest. Arita panics, thinking she's into him too, but it's a misunderstanding. Seiha overheard his talk with Kotono and was just testing him. Ever the rational one, she thinks Kotono's confusing sibling admiration for love. To make sure Arita's not getting any funny ideas, Seiha checks his heartbeat. It's steady, thankfully. Still, Seiha doesn't let her guard down. She lectures Arita about the risks of close-kin relationships, which leaves him exasperated. Not only does he not have those kinds of feelings, but they're not even related by blood. After finally getting Seiha to leave, Arita's too wired to sleep. By morning, things seem normal. Bonri's cracking jokes as usual, and the other sisters act like nothing's changed on the way to school. Arita's the one hit hardest, feeling off all day. After school, he runs into Minami, who's super popular and constantly stopped for photos. It makes Arita feel like he's less charming than his own sister. But Minami soon lifts his spirits. She's a star athlete but terrible at math, flunking her latest test. Arita tries tutoring her at a karaoke place, but she barely listens and starts singing instead. Her carefree vibe rubs off on him, and he stops pushing her to study. As they leave, Arita spots Yokoyama with her new boyfriend. Minami, who heard about his crush from Uka, comforts him on the way home. Her encouragement pulls him out of his slump. Minami's like a ray of sunshine for the family. She brings Uka a cake and finds the missing AirPods, smoothing over their earlier fight. Life seems to settle back to normal, as if Kanami's revelation never happened. But Arita and Kotono still feel awkward around each other. Whenever it gets weird, Seiha pops up like a ghost, warning Arita to keep his thoughts pure. To escape Seiha, Arata heads to school, only to face Uka's nagging. She pushes him to confess to Yokoyama, but he refuses, knowing she's already taken. Then Uka's classmate, who has a crush on Arata, calls her away. Uka blushes while badmouthing Arata, hinting she might not actually want him to date. Soon, it's the weekend, and the family heads to a water park to make up for Kotono's lackluster birthday party. Bonri and Arata go to grab snacks, while the others promise to stay put. When they return, everyone's gone, and no one's answering their phones. Carrying all the snacks is a hassle, and Bonri's not a big eater, so Arata ends up chowing down alone. Alone with Bonri, she teases him with flirty remarks, making his face turn red. At his age, with hormones in overdrive, keeping cool isn't easy. Arata tries to stay calm but gets distracted and trips. Luckily, they dive into the water park's attractions, and Bonri eases up on the teasing. Meanwhile, Shiun's group finishes their rides and can't reach Arata. They decide to enjoy the park without him. Arata, now alone with Bonri, asks her thoughts on the no-blood relation bombshell. The others might be less fazed, but Arata's rattled by Kotono's confession and Seiha's warnings. He can't bring himself to tell Bonri, though. Bonri senses he's off and shares her perspective. Blood or no blood, she'll always protect her siblings. Like when they were kids, she pats Arata's head. When a girl accidentally spills a drink toward Bonri, Arata shields her, taking the hit. Bonri sees how much he's grown, and later, she can't help but hold his hand as they play. That night, the two groups finally reunite, while Arata, Shiun, and Kotono step away. Seiha spills the beans about Kotono's confession and her test on Arata. Uka hesitates but reveals Kotono's earlier confession too. The situation's serious, and the four girls are at a loss. Since learning she's not related to Arata, Kotono's buried feelings have resurfaced. They agree to act clueless for now, keeping an eye on Kotono while searching for a solution. Lately, Arata's been hiding out in the bathroom, venting to Shiun about his stress. Without the shield of blood ties, he feels like a lone beauty thrown into a den of wolves. With his sister's advances growing bolder by the day, Shiun teases him, saying if the no-blood relation news got out, every guy at school would be jealous of Arata's problem. Shiun doesn't get it. Arata feels like their family is teetering on the edge of collapse. For instance, Arata's noticed Uka giving him strange looks lately. He hopes he's just imagining things. For years, they were told they were twins, making their bond unique. But when Uka suddenly admits she has feelings for him, Arata nearly loses it in public. Uka clarifies that her feelings are just admiration, not romantic. She's impressed that Arata didn't take advantage of Kotono's confession. Relieved, Arata buys her explanation, unaware that Uka's lying and secretly harbors a crush. To make matters worse, Minami overhears part of their conversation. The most athletic of the five sisters, Minami's bubbly and never holds back her thoughts. But this time, she hesitates. Tormented by not knowing what's going on between Uka and Arata, she tries to ask him but can't bring herself to do it. Arata senses something's off with Minami, lost in thought while heading to the bathroom. He doesn't notice Seiha, who's already there, undressed. When he scolds her for not covering up, Seiha teases him for overreacting. Ever the brainiac, she launches into a lecture, pointing out that after years of living together as family, they're so used to each other's bodies that it shouldn't be a big deal. Frustrated, Arata flees to his room, only for Bonri, the eldest sister, to show up. It's been 2 years since she last visited his room, and now she's inviting him on a date. Date is just Bonri's exaggerated way of teasing him. She loves messing with Arata. Her real goal is to grant his wish for a smartphone. At first, Arata thinks she's pulling another prank, but what happens next throws him off. While picking out a phone, Bonri casually mentions that choosing a phone reflects your approach to love, whether you value looks or substance. She keeps dropping flirty hints, and when she hears about a couple's discount, she gets touchy-feely, suggesting they pretend to be a couple. Worried about getting caught in the lie, Arata shuts it down. After buying the phone, Bonri takes him for ice cream, like a real couple's outing. Thankfully, she dials back the flirting. They reminisce about their childhood, how they used to bicker, how Kotono would hide in the closet when upset, and how Uka, more than Bonri, played the big sister, always standing up for the others. Even now, Bonri's still terrified of ghost stories, just like when they were kids. Meanwhile, Kotono's staring at a waterpark photo, her eyes glued to Arata. When she sees a new picture Bonri posted with him, her jealousy flares. What happens next pushes her to the brink. Bonri's extra flirty behavior today was at Minami's request. Minami, worried about Arata's unresolved situation with Kotono, asked Bonri to test him. The results pleased her, but then disaster struck. Minami accidentally sent a group chat message saying Uka and Arata should be fine. She quickly deleted it, but not before Kotono saw it. While everyone's focused on Arata, his attention shifts to Seiha. He notices his second oldest sister spacing out a lot lately, trying to be supportive. He tells her she can talk to him about anything. Turns out, Seiha's issue involves him. To protect Kotono, she once flirted with Arata to gauge his reaction. It backfired. Arata stayed gentlemanly, but Seiha felt a rush she couldn't explain. Confused about her feelings, Seiha suggests a game to figure it out. Arata refuses at first, but she guilts him into it, reminding him how she helped him ace his exams last month. Reluctantly, he agrees. The game's a spinning wheel that assigns where they place their hands or feet in a small space, guaranteeing physical contact as it progresses. Normally quiet as a cat, Seiha turns tiger-like, while Arata feels like prey, desperately avoiding her. He considers quitting but worries she'll think he's catching feelings. Stuck, he powers through. During the game, Seiha nerds out, explaining how dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin create feelings of happiness. Dopamine surges in early love, and oxytocin kicks in during intimate moments. Never having dated, Seiha's only read about this in books, so she's using Arata as her guinea pig. Thankfully, the experiment doesn't spiral out of control. Seiha concludes her feelings aren't romantic and promptly ditches Arata, leaving him bewildered by her sudden coldness. No sooner has Seiha left than Uka shows up, inviting Arata to play a fighting video game, a rare activity they usually save for weekends. Her unusual timing raises Arata's suspicions. Uka dominates the game, her excitement leading to accidental touches that fluster Arata. When he finally focuses and starts winning, Uka, a sore loser, playfully attacks him in real life. Their roughhousing leads to Arata accidentally pinning Uka down. Time freezes as they stare at each other. Uka remarks that Arata's gone from boy to man, her cheeks flushing as she leaves. Unbeknownst to them, Kotono's hiding in Arata's closet. Later, while watching a rom-com with her sisters, a confession scene sparks a discussion about love. Seiha's pragmatic, weighing real-world factors. Uka dreams of a perfect manga-style romance. Minami only cares about mutual love, nothing else. Each sister has her own take on romance, and they talk late into the night. Suddenly, Kotono stops everyone. She boldly declares her love for Arata, not as a sister, but as a woman who wants to marry him. She's noticed her sister's varying feelings for him and wants to stake her claim first. Her courage stuns them all. Meanwhile, Kanem, their foster father, asks Arata how the family's doing. Arata suspects Kanem revealed their lack of blood ties for a specific reason, promising to protect the family as the eldest son. Arata earns Kanem's approval. The conversation turns to love. Embarrassing Arata, he flips it back, asking about Kanem's late wife, Chihiro. Kanem rarely speaks of her, describing her with just 3 words: beautiful, young, warm. The only trace of her in the house is a single photo. A flashback shows young Chihiro writing a letter to her siblings, asking about their lives. It's a brief moment, but it raises questions. What's the author hinting at here? The focus shifts to Minami, who's preparing for a big tennis match. She's distracted, haunted by the night Kotono fled to her room in tears. Another worry is Hinata, her senior and former tennis team ace. Hinata was unbeatable until Minami, a prodigy with Olympic potential, outshone her, bringing the school countless trophies. Now, Minami dominates women's singles and holds the athletic scholarship Hinata was once slated for. Hinata's dreams of college and a pro career have faded, and she faces entering the workforce after high school to support her family. Like many teens, her talents are being sidelined by life's realities. Minami feels she stole Hinata's future, yet their close bond makes her guilt worse. She wants to win a trophy for Hinata, but there's a catch. Minami's hiding an injury. Every practice and match hurts, and the family's housekeeper notices her bandaged ankle, telling Arata. Arata, stepping up as the big brother, respects Minami's choice to compete but urges her to get a thorough checkup. He examines her ankle himself, and in return, Minami helps him stretch, their sibling closeness making Arata blush. Minami's too cheerful to read anything weird into it. Kotono, however, notices their growing bond and fears another rival. A bigger problem arises on the day of Minami's final match. Arata wakes early, and things seem normal. Bonri's in skimpy clothes, teasing him as usual, leaving him flustered. But 3 minutes later, panic sets in. Minami's gone, and her tennis shoes are still at home. No one's seen her. Minami comes home loaded with snacks, casually explaining she's a cheerleader, so she doesn't need to show up early for the match. Arata's worried about her, and his suspicions are confirmed after a quick chat. Minami's injury gets exposed, and the tennis coach benches her. In front of her brother, she plays it cool, acting like the ban doesn't faze her. But Arata's not buying it. he thinks she's putting on a brave face. He talks to Shion, who spills that she saw Minami crying that morning, clearly crushed about being sidelined. Knowing how much Minami wants to win this match for Hinata, Arata steps up to fight for her spot on the court. On the way to the venue, they hit traffic, so Arata switches to a bike, pedaling hard to get Minami there. He even drops to his knees, pleading with the coach to give her a shot. Minami gets her chance, but the pressure's intense. She's playing through pain, and it's the final set. If she loses this, her dream of winning for Hinata's send-off is toast. The physical and mental strain takes its toll, and Minami struggles on the court. Her last crucial shot is called out of bounds, and she loses. The regret stings. After the match, Minami apologizes to Hinata, but no one blames her. She keeps up her usual bubbly act, but Arata sees through it. He pulls her into a hug, and that's when Minami finally breaks, sobbing in his arms. That night, Minami's in the bath, her mind on Arata. With everything that's happened, his support has pulled her out of a dark place. But here's the kicker, Minami's starting to feel something for her brother that's not just sibling love, like the other sisters seem to be grappling with too. With Minami's issues sorted for now, it's Kotono's turn in the spotlight. As she's getting ready for bed, Uka swings by. Their sisterly chat drops a bombshell. Kotono's sudden confession about liking Arata, it was her trying to stake her claim first, sensing everyone else's feelings for him. Uka insists it's just family affection, urging Kotono to think hard about her feelings and not rush into anything rash. But after Uka leaves, she's a mess herself. She's not even sure what she feels for Arata. A few days later, Bonri shows up at night, needing Arata's help to grab something she forgot at school. Big Sis is terrified of the dark and ghosts, so she clings to Arata's arm the whole way, making him blush like crazy. When a school security guard passes by, Arata covers Bonri's mouth, and they hide in a corner in a super awkward position. The vibe getting way too flirty. Bonri's a grown woman, and Arata's starting to feel something weird for her. Then Bonri opens up, shifting his focus. Despite her fears, she's studying to be a nurse. Why? When she was a kid visiting their foster mom, Chihiro, in the hospital, Bonri was heartbroken. A kind nurse helped her through it, inspiring her to become a nurse and bring comfort to patients and their families. Of all the sisters, Bonri seems the least likely to stir up trouble. Uka, on the other hand, she's a walking disaster. Lately, she's been down, bombing her exams. To clear her head, she decides to climb Mount Fuji for the weekend. Uka's soaking in a hot spring on a snowy Mount Fuji, totally oblivious to the danger creeping closer. Days pass, and Uka doesn't come back. She's practically vanished. Thankfully, after she got lost last time, her phone's got location sharing with the family. Arata's freaking out and takes a late-night bus to Fuji to find her. When Uka sees him, she's stunned but touched. The inn's fully booked, so they're stuck sharing a room. While Uka changes, Arata's practically holding his breath, trying not to let his mind wander to weird places in that cramped space. Then Uka brings up a story. Their foster parents met on Fuji. Chihiro had an accident, and their foster dad swooped in like a knight in shining armor. Uka's not just reminiscing. She seems to be hoping for her own knight to show up on this mountain. At dawn, Arata wakes to find Uka gone. The weather's awful, with thick fog cutting visibility to nothing. His worries justified. Uka's lost, injured from a fall, and trapped in the mountains, feeling hopeless. But then, her knight, Arata, shows up to save the day. Uka tried to act tough at first, but her injured foot made walking nearly impossible. In the end, Arata had to carry her down the mountain on his back. They talked a lot along the way. Uka mentioned a legend she'd heard. If you bring a memento to Mount Fuji, you can see a departed loved one. She had so much she wanted to share with her late foster mother. But sadly, that legend was just a rumor. Back when Uka had something on her mind, she'd always confide in Kaname, her foster father, whom she adored. But ever since she learned there was no blood relation between them, things felt off. Family dynamics got weird, and she couldn't open up to Kaname the way she used to. Arata, though, kept reassuring her, blood or no blood, he'd always be there to listen to her troubles. By coming to rescue her this time, Arata showed he'd always be family, no matter what. Uka didn't say much. She was deeply touched but too shy to express it. Back at the inn, after a quick bandage job on her foot, Uka and Arata continued down the mountain. Bonri, along with her younger siblings, was waiting at the base. They'd been worried sick since Uka's breakup, so seeing her safe was a huge relief. On the way home, Arata sat in the back row. Exhausted, he dozed off, his head resting on Uka's shoulder. Uka's face turned bright red. Her heart was racing faster than cars on the highway. But when they got home, she realized something was wrong. Arata wasn't just tired, he'd passed out from a fever. He'd gotten sick after braving the rain on Mount Fuji to save her. Thankfully, Arata's efforts paid off. Uka finally overcame her emotional hurdles, and her bond with Kaname was back to its old warmth. The bad news, a day later, Arata was still sick. Kotono and Minami were fighting over who'd bring him food. Bonri, worried Kotono might pull something shady while Arata was out cold, sent Minami instead. But the real sneaky one was Uka. After getting home, she took a bath, then slipped into Arata's room alone, too shy to be bold while he was awake. She could only muster the courage to confess her feelings while he was unconscious. And then, brace yourself, Uka leaned in and kissed him. She left without realizing Arata had actually woken up. In the days that followed, Arata's head was a whirlwind of emotions. He joined his family at their foster father's vacation villa to escape the summer heat. Bonri couldn't help but poke fun, joking that Arata would have to share a room with his sisters. That alone was enough to send Arata into a tailspin, especially when his eyes landed on Uka's lips. Her presence always triggered a flood of weird, confusing thoughts. While Arata was taking a bath, Shion suddenly barged into the bathroom. Thank goodness his younger brother wasn't come to confess some big romantic gesture, or Arata would have been totally lost on how to handle it. Escaping to this villa was actually Shion's idea. He'd looked up his birth records and found out this city was tied to his biological parents, so he wanted to visit them. But the place turned out to be a ghost town, deserted, with no one living nearby. Arata barely had time to lift Shion's spirits and cheer him feel less down before his own problems piled up. He started noticing odd looks from a few of his sisters. First, it was Uka, who kept seeking him out. She'd casually toss out questions about relationships, fishing for answers. When she heard Arata was over his feelings for Yokoyama, her face lit up like she'd won the lottery. Later, while soaking in the bath, her mind raced with forbidden thoughts about sibling marriage. Then came Minami, who invited Arata for a stroll in a park bursting with roses, a spot usually reserved for couples. Blushing, she shyly asked about his ideal partner, hanging on to every word he said. Out of the blue, Minami admitted she had a crush on someone. She described this girl as bold and fearless, but when it came to love, she was too scared to confess. In the end, she couldn't bring herself to say that the person she liked was Arata himself. Next up, the ultimate test arrives. The first part of the summer getaway plan is a trip to the mountains for a swim. And for Arata, this is pure torture. Recent events have left him unable to stay chill around his sisters. To make matters worse, everyone's rocking super revealing swimsuits. He barely manages to tear his eyes away from Uka when Minami grabs his hand and invites him to dive in together. Minami's holding her brother's hand, her emotions all over the place. Arata doesn't pick up on Minami's weird vibe. His attention's locked on Seiha. This girl's a total brainiac at school but a complete mess in life. Case in point, Seiha just lost her underwear. Arata's flustered and nervous, worried she's about to flash everyone, so he scrambles to grab her stuff for her. Then it's big sis Bonri's turn. She invites Arata for a swim and playfully climbs onto his back, leading to way more close contact than he's ready for. Arata's on the verge of losing it. He's at that age where hormones are in overdrive, and this is pushing him to the edge. Distracted, he totally misses Bonri's quiet little confession. Finally, there's Kotono. She's heading out to buy stuff. A long trek away. Worried about his little sister, Arata tags along for the mountain hike. He can't stop thinking about Kotono's earlier confession, his heart racing. Luckily, Kotono keeps things normal. Thanks to Arata's pep talk, she decides to rethink how she handles their family dynamic. That night, Arata thinks he can finally catch a break. Nope, surprise. He overhears Kotono, Minami, and Uka chatting. The three sisters spill their true feelings. They all have a thing for Arata. Minami even suggests they compete fairly for him. And that's a wrap. Congrats on binging another anime recap on my channel. Drop a score for this one in the comments. Who saw this show turning into a full-on harem? Aside from Seiha, who hasn't straight up confessed, all the other sisters are showing some level of feelings for Arata. Will this guy pick one of them as his girl, or go full harem mode and sweep them all up? Let's wait for the next season to find out. Also, my channel's packed with more classic anime recaps. Hope they keep you entertained during those boring days.